We are here today to check out some more cricket.
But should we just call it like Cricket Tuesday or something like that?
Cricket Tuesday.
Cricket Tuesday.
Cricket Tuesday.
It was repeating itself. Didn't we just see that?
It's so true, though.
Okay, well, first of all,
true.
Mitch Johnson, Brett Lee, MS Dhoni, with all that boring stuff out of the way, this is a very important, momentous occasion. All right, welcome back to Boring Reviews. Nick here.
Gabe. Gaiton Day. Ooh, I'm bringing back that Gaiton Day, baby. Where is Sacred Games? Can I get some Sacred Games? You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. Can I get some Gaiton Day? A little bit.
I don't know if we're going to get it, right? They finished the story for the most part, and season 2 wasn't as well received as season 1. I mean, we got two good seasons. I enjoyed them both. But we are here for another episode of
Cricket Tuesday. And Nick,
horrible.
Today, I'm rocking my CSK gear.
I don't know why.
You know why? Because
you're already giving up on your Trent Rockets?
Because, yes, the summer of Gabe is over. The Trent Rockets woke up, realized I root for them, and have laid an egg. How do you go from first to like fourth in a span of a week? Are you kidding me right now? And then the West Indies. Oh, my gosh.
No, they won. Your West Indies won.
They won the most recent one, but the last one against Pakistan, I'm like, come on. I'm sorry. No disrespect.
Did they draw that one?
I think they ended up just. Bro, we should have beat Pakistan. Come on. I'm sorry.
Pakistan's no slouch. What's wrong with you?
Bro, I'm just saying, listen, how are we going to expect to bang with the big boys and be up there with India and be up there with the top dogs, Australia, England, and we can't beat Pakistan? Come on, man. You know what I'm saying? It's like listen, it's frustrating. It's frustrating.
It was the first test in this series. They won the first test. They're up 1-0. And will you calm down with India and New Zealand? They're not there yet. This is a big win for them. A lot of great things happened for him. This guy's mad. I don't know what's wrong with this guy. But we're gonna move away from the negativity. This guy's out of control. He's out of control. He's got this CSK out. I don't know why you want to bring that bad luck charm around, but whatever. We're gonna go ahead and jump into this Cricket Tuesday reaction. We're looking at one of our favorite, or at least one of my favorite channels, Cricket Raz. And this guy, he inspires me to want to do videos like this, but then I would have to learn more about the sport that I already do. I don't know if that's possible. I'm still learning. So we're looking at a video called When Underdogs Took Over the World, Sri Lanka 1996 World Cup Champions. I've heard a lot about this World Cup Championship. It's been coming up a lot recently. I've known about it already, so it's nothing new, but I'm excited because we know that on Cricket Raz, we're going to get a story. And that's what I'm excited to check out. This guy puts out great videos, at least what seems like once a week or something like that, once every other week. And I'm excited to check this out. Don't you love it when an underdog wins, Gabe?
You know, people have told us, Sri Lanka was once a respectable and formidable squad. And they've had good players. I mean, Malinga, but you don't think of Sri Lanka. Again, if you lose to an England and you're the West Indies, that's supposed to happen. If you lose to Australia, the West Indies, that's supposed to happen. If you lose to India, that's supposed to happen. You lose to New Zealand, that's supposed to happen. But when you're losing to other squads, you know what I'm saying? Like Sri Lanka, South Africa, Pakistan, then it's like, man, I mean, is this test squad? And the thing is, all these teams once had their heights, right, Nick? So I wasn't around for the greatness of the West Indies, right, with the Four Horsemen. So I'm stuck with what I'm stuck with now with this test team, and I've got to be candid. I don't see them winning a chess championship within the next 4 or 5 years. It's Sri Lanka fans. I'm not sure. Chime in. Do you guys see your boys winning within the next 4 or 5 years? And now that the test championship is there, Nick, doesn't it seem like it's more, not just more competitive, but there's more at stake, and those standings just bother me. I check the standings, even if I miss a game. I want to see where my West Indies in. And you know where we're always at?
Hey, not after this last win, all right? Why don't you calm down with your bets? Did you just put South Africa, Pakistan, and what was the other team you threw on the bus?
Sri Lanka.
At the bottom of the barrel?
Aren't they? Look at that. Aren't they?
Wow, RSA? They beat the bricks off your West Indies. Remember that?
Exactly. They beat the bricks off my West Indies. We can't beat South Africa.
Right.
All right. But I'm saying, if you look at when you look at the standings, it's like
man, he's angry today.
Why
is Gabe angry today? I don't understand.
I'm just saying, it's always the same top 4 teams that you know what I mean? England, India, Australia, and New Zealand. Can a brother get online? I'm just saying, man.
It's okay if India's up there at all times. We don't mind that. Most people don't mind that. I think most people enjoy that, actually. There's just something wrong with you. You need to take some medicine or something. But we're going to go ahead and check out this. I like a good underdog. I love an underdog because all the teams I root for besides the Lakers are underdog teams at all times. And I have to be happy with it. But every time that underdog is able to pull it out and show you what they can do, it's some kind of sweetness. So I'm excited to check this out. Gabe may not be. He's still fuming over there about something. I'm not sure what. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, we would really appreciate if you would like the video.
Rockets.
And you would subscribe to the video. Man, he's already given up on them. They're going to do the same nosedive as Melbourne. They only have like 1 or 2 matches left in the season. They might be able to squeak by and get themselves to the playoffs, but you never know. But we're going to go ahead and check this out. Gabe, when you're done going crazy, can you give us a countdown, please?
In 3, 2, 1.
Something wide given. So they're almost there.
Always starts with a wide.
This is turning out to be
a fairy tale. Nothing more
or no ball.
Nothing less. That moment was a Disney tale come true, but a darker, much more sordid type of Disney fairy tale. It began from a no ball, went through bombings, boycotts, and near bankruptcy before ending up with the pinnacle of cricket in their hands. This is the story of when Sri Lanka won the World Cup. Now, as far as stories go, I have a really hard time deciding where exactly should I start this from. Do I start from 1983, when a small island nation began tearing itself apart in a conflict between the Tamils and the Sinhalese that would go on for the next 26 years? Or do I begin in 1975, when Sri Lanka played its first ODI match?
1975.
Or on 5th January 1995, when a young Tamil prodigy was no-balled out of a game, and all his Sinhalese teammate could do was just stand and watch. Yep, let's start from there.
Sri Lanka up to then were considered a really nice group of people. They were gentlemen.
Even if you have somebody coming close to you and sledging, there were times that we used to smile.
In a team that the captain Ranatunga had handpicked personally in a 2 consecutive series tour to Australia. They had been sledged, heckled, cussed and accused of everything, from ball tampering all the way up to destroying the spirit of the game.
No, there were a couple of incidents, but I can't put it out till we get the green light from the match referee.
But then, their new spinning prodigy, Muralidharan, was unilaterally no-balled due to his action by Australian umpires. The second time it happened, Murali actually had to be taken out of the team. Their youngest teammate was being bullied and shamed in front of the world. That was a bridge too far.
There's those umpires,
Shockingly,
Gabe.
the Australians had managed to do something that 14 years of war couldn't.
What I was trying to look at
They
was
had
his action to
united
see what was
the
wrong
Sri
with it.
Lankans. There were no galvanizing speeches given nor any rousing words spoken. But everybody there just felt their hearts burn.
Out of my way.
They were burning and it showed.
Out of my way.
It began from a small gesture though, of Ranatunga inviting Murali to his house for dinner.
Back up.
And soon enough, Murali was being flooded with requests from his entire team. Now Ranatunga's house, which had become a dining spot, wasn't empty by any means. It was always filled with fellow teammates, including Jayasuriya and Vikram Singhe, because they just couldn't afford to live anywhere
Jeez.
else. The Sri
Couldn't
Lankan
afford to
board
live
at that
anywhere
time
else.
had little more than 3 lakh rupees at its disposal. So forget about giving regular salaries. Each and every time the team had to tour somewhere, they had to go searching for sponsors.
Wow.
This team didn't have anything that a modern cricketer should have, but they had each other. They couldn't afford an extra shirt or an extra pair of shoes, but they could happily share their food at night. In those shared jerseys, during nights gone sleepless due to Jayasuriya's snoring, a team was being created, which was then shaped by the new Australian coach, Dave Watmore. Arriving in June of 1995, him, along with the team manager Duleep Mendes, introduced a series of change. First was a complete overhaul in the physical training regime. The original lazy attitude was replaced by a strict do till you drop exercise regime, which was then followed by change in mentalities. And here again, that no ball in Australia is put into focus. At the time, Dave Watmore had said to his team, if we can go through this crap, we can go through anything. And Rana Tunga,
we had to take a step outside our normal routine and say, go out there, give your best shot, hit hard, don't allow them to control you, and that's attitude we adopt in the tournament prior to the World Cup as well.
In that tournament, despite losing Murli, despite an injured Rana Tunga and Mahanama, despite no neutral umpires and foreign conditions, they had ousted West Indies and gone toe-to-toe with Australians. They were good enough. Their shards of talent had entered Australia's furnace and had come out as a single razor-sharp tip. So no matter what anyone said, they were good enough and they could deal with anything. So, when Sri Lanka's capital Colombo was rocked by a bomb blast, and Australia and West Indies refused to play in Sri Lanka, with their entire nation being disgusted by such affront, the team, headed by Rana Tunga, responded with,
the moment that Australia said that they weren't travelling to Sri Lanka, Arjuna said, we want Australia in the final. Now, there weren't too many teams in world cricket going around saying, bring on Australia. But Arjuna had the guts to say that.
It wasn't just empty bravado though. Rana Tunga had a plan. It started with a throwaway statement by their manager Mendes in the Australian tour. Why don't we open with Kalu? And soon, it resulted in full-blown planning sessions before each and every match. Team meetings would stretch for 2 hours, where each and every foreseeable situation and its solution was worked out.
That area of looking at opposition, analysing and coming up with plans and that sort of thing. So I thought we were very well prepared. Even that, something that the opposition didn't do.
Homework was done through video replays and detailed sheets on field positions for specific players were being designed. Dave Watmore, who loves to keep notes, has documented each and every one of those plans. He can still tell you what plan was to be used against what player in what match. And for the Sri Lankan players themselves, specific and to the point rules were designed. Rana Tunga used to personally go and talk to each and every player. Each player was explained his role, sometimes as small as making the new ball old. By the time the World Cup rolled around, they had a full battle plan ready. Previously batting on number 8, Jayasuriya was paired with previously batting on number 7 position Kalu Vitharna with just one instruction.
Opening?
Attack, attack, attack.
Why not, man? I don't want to hear that. Oh, he's not an opener.
If you have to, just
exactly.
Scared, like if he opens and fails, whether he will be out of the national side. I said, don't worry, I'll protect you. I'm giving you that guarantee. You just go and open.
This tactic, which was partly employed by New Zealand in the last World Cup, had reached its true pinnacle in this opening pair's hand.
It was never heard of or done before. When it did, it was a wonderful feeling to see chaos in the opposition, not knowing where to put the fielders. There were certain matches that opposition teams in the first 10 overs didn't have a third man or a fine leg.
Down the order, Mahanama was to just turn the strike over to the pinch hitters, failing which he and Tilak Ratne had to rebuild. Guru Singh was told to play through the entire inning. Even bowlers were given specific order. Vikram Singhe, Vas, Murli, Dharmasena, Jayasurya and De Silva in that order, like clockwork. A strong batting lineup coupled with bowlers well suited for the subcontinental conditions. But there was one person who was never given any memo. That's Arvinda De Silva. Legendary for his nonchalance towards any batting preparations. Famous for getting up and going to batting half asleep.
There's a lot of talk about Arvinda not, living up to his potential, so to speak. Everyone knew he was a great player, but he hadn't really produced on the big stage or hadn't produced as much in international cricket as people felt I think he should.
During that World Cup, he could be found roaming the hallways late at night, shadow batting.
Nice.
And if anybody stopped him and asked what ball was he facing, he would quickly reply, Akram is bowling bouncers right now. From this De Silva,
I love it.
Ranatunga had just one request. You get us 100. You win us the World Cup.
Okay, no problem.
In a team that he had built over the years, a plan that he had put together over many months, De Silva was the only free hand. His was the only talent Ranatunga did not limit by the bounds of his own imagination.
Wow. Trust.
He was free to do as he
Those
willed.
jerseys, man. Woo.
And he did. Standing in a World Cup final, De Silva had delivered that century. Against a country that had heckled them just a few months before.
Oh.
Against a team that had destroyed them just a few months before. And against a board that had humiliated his junior just a few months before. And as he hit it, he could see his captain standing on the other end. And then he looked on himself as his captain hit the final runs of the World Cup. A team booed and broken, a country bombed and boycotted, and a cricket board near on the verge of bankruptcy had lifted the World Cup. And with the halos and echoes of a fairy tale ending in their ears, I still remember Telford voice writing, "This marks the spot on the map of cricketing's journey through history, where East looked West in the eye and did not blink. Instead, East just winked and said, try to keep up. Try to keep up."
I love it.
Thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, kindly like, share,
We're
and subscribe.
already subscribed.
Thank you for watching.
Oh man alive. I absolutely love his videos. I love his narration. I love his writing there. But talking about the content itself, holy cow. I mean, I knew they were underdogs. I knew about the bombings. I didn't know how bad the bankruptcy was. I didn't know that you had players on the international starting side who had to shack up with the captain in his house, so to speak, just to survive. How they had to pull their resources together just to be able to eat that. I mean, that to me is insane. You made it to the international side, but your country can't afford it. And they go against the best. I mean, and it looked like they didn't have morale for that World Cup for whatever reason. That's just incredible. I love stories like that. You can't tell me God does not love sports when you hear stories like that.
Of course, he's a sports fan. At times, I think he's a Boston fan. Ugh, not gonna lie. But with that being said,
yeah, 27 championships. Yeah, he hates your team. Will you get out of here?
No, but this is what I was thinking. A couple things, right? First of all, I'm looking at Morales' action, and the action looked fine to me. You know what I'm saying, dude? And it was like, you can't bend the elbow or whatever. I didn't see it bend at any point. Now, this last year, and especially in the IPL, right? Sunil Narayan ended up getting pulled because of his action or whatever, because he had and you could tell he bent his elbow a little bit. I saw his action; it looked fine to me. Whatever. I think that the judges there, not the judges, I should say the refs or the umpire were being they were just being refs. All right, they were being biased. Bottom line. With that being said, dude. A couple things pointed out to me. It's hard to compete when you don't have resources, right? But it's also hard to compete when you don't have a game plan. I don't understand, and maybe that's because I've only been used to Americanized sports, but I don't understand how you don't walk in there with already a game plan. How you don't know, how you've never watched film before, how you've never already laid out the game and who's going to be batting, and you've never mapped out, sabermetrics, which is just a huge thing. And maybe that's just, guys used to go by the seat of their pants. You know what I mean? I got to think about when this happened. But nowadays, bro, they know forget about the last 5 at-bats. They know about the last 50 at-bats you had in this, and I'm talking baseball, in this baseball park or against this pitcher. They know the last 100 at-bats you've had at this ballpark or against this pitcher. They have you played perfectly where you're going to hit the ball. And I'm surprised that he said that other teams didn't really employ that, because, that's been going on. Think about it. The shift, how long have you been hearing about the shift in baseball, Nick? That's been going on for a while now. What was that? When the A's beat the Yankees in the ALCS, that was 96, I think it was. Something like that. If I'm not mistaken. 96, 98, something to that effect. But the point is, bro, they don't have the knowledge. They don't have the tutelage. Right? They've got the athletes that can do it, but they didn't have the knowledge, and it had to come a coach from a different continent, right? From a different program to teach them, what are you guys doing here? No. This is what we got to do. And I'm glad. It's funny, New Zealand, and we talked about how they're so good at fielding. It's because they think differently, and they really coach. Honestly, I think that's what was the difference between New Zealand and India in this last ICC World Championship. Their fielding is impeccable. And again, New Zealand's the only other team that had employed. Oh, forget about openers. I'm gonna put my best guys up there to mash. All right, why not? Especially if it's gonna be in the power play.
How many times have we talked about it? How many times have we said, why can't we with this guy who's mashing, who's banging? Oh, you can never do it. It's blasphemous. It would be a worse idea than anything else you can think of.
No, and here's what I think too. When they do this all the time, by the way, and it drives me crazy, especially in like T20, they'll do this to like Pollard, right? They'll bat him super late, 6, sometimes even 7. Well, what happens is you've already lost 6 wickets in front of him, so now he's got to protect his wicket, right, before he can really fire off, or you've wasted so much time that the guy doesn't even get a chance to really bat and affect the game because other guys have ate the, you know what I mean? Like, no, put him in a position where he can actually do damage. You know what I'm saying? Where he can affect the game. I love that. You know what? I'm going to put you two up there. You guys are free swingers. Go crush. Guess what? If I lose my two guys 1 for 2, somebody in India just 1 for 2, England. So what? I still got 8 other wickets or whatever. But what happens if those guys go out there and get the mash? You know what I'm saying? And you've got to be able to be able to think differently. And I think that was the thing that really stood out to me about that. Not only did an underdog win, but the talent was there. They were underdog because they didn't have the tutelage. They didn't have the knowledge and the resources. And I think the last thing is Australia and West Indies. And I know what you're going to say, well, it was because it was West Indies. But we recently had an issue where Australia backed out of another match. Where was it to? I think it was to South Africa, right? I understand this, and I was upset about it as well. I'm sure Sri Lanka fans, and they were upset when Australia and West Indies backed out. But here's the thing, man. Those players are commodities. You know what I'm saying, Nick? These players they make this program money. They make the cricket clubs in their country's money. So are you going to send them somewhere where they're at danger to, well, at the time it was bombings and, today it's COVID. You know what I mean? Those are tough decisions. those aren't in the players' decisions, by the way, guys. People way above their pay grade make those decisions. Like, we're not going to risk our players. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know how you feel about that, but I could almost understand the other side. Like, whoa, maybe we delay it for a little bit because if things are hot right now over there, we don't want to put our players in danger. But that was the one thing, and I love how he narrated it, and he did a great job. But I still saw the other side of it. Like, would I have sent my team if I'm in charge, if I'm the head coach, if I'm the I'm sitting on that cricket board? Am I going to put them in a place where I know they could possibly be in harm's way? But I mean, those are my thoughts.
Looking at the scorecard, you know, it's interesting. He put those two guys as openers, and combined they scored 15 runs. Right? It's an interesting idea, but after that you had Guru, they got 65, De Silva 107, and Ranatunga 47. So they more than handled the caseload, so to speak, after those two openers. You got to go with some experiments sometimes. You're not exactly sure how to play this or that, but it only counted for 15. But De Silva, who got the century, got 107. He also got himself 3 wickets on the bowling side. Wow. And, of course, he finished not out because they were able to chase, and that was it. I mean, he had the match of his life, of his career, I'm assuming. And I don't know too much about his career, but I know I've heard his name, so he's not a scrub or anything. But he had the greatest match on the biggest stage. And sometimes the stars, they align. But I love how the coach was being a coach. He was doing everything possible with the captain, having everyone, this is what you're going to do. This is what you're going to do. We're going to have plans for every situation, scenario that could go wrong, and they plan it out. And you asked the question, why aren't all the teams doing that? I'm sure the teams were doing that to some degree, but I'm wondering if they thought, we've beat Sri Lanka several times. Why change something if it's not broken? Why fix something if it's not broken? We're going to keep doing what we're doing, and I think that's one of the reasons why Sri Lanka changed the batting order. They changed the situation here and there, because you saw the previous scores, 1 by 10 wickets, 1 by 148, and whatever else. So I think sometimes you get caught into that where it's worked every other time, so why would we change it on the biggest stage? And the last thing is I understand relocation. I really do. In that situation, safety is most important. I understand that. It looks like they played in Lahore in Pakistan to finish that World Cup, but super cool for the Sri Lanka Lions. I mean, for that country, for that cricket team, and for their legacy. And last thing I want to correct myself, Morale did bowl in that World Cup. He got himself 1 wicket. But, man, such a great video. Cool to walk down memory lane and kind of hear more about the things that we've heard a little bit about. If you're a Sri Lanka fan, go ahead and let us know your thoughts. Let us know if you were there, if you remember watching this live. I'm sure you do. Don't forget to give us a like. And until next time.
That's 6 runs.